Hello and welcome along to the stream tonight. I hope that for everyone that's out there, I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that the current global pandemic is treating you all well. Currently still in restrictions here in Scotland. There's going to be an announcement tomorrow to see if there are going to be any changes to that and whether there are going to be increased restrictions going forward. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. For tonight on the stream, the idea is that we're going to continue working on magic chunks. So for anyone that was here last week, we spent basically all of last stream getting to know what the Magic Chunks library is, and also what we can do to progress towards a 2.1.0 release. So hello to Nils and Kim in the chat room. Thank you both for coming along. So tonight is going to be more looking at Magic Chunks. So if we were to check the milestone, the 2.1.0 milestone, then there is only one item left on the list here. So I'm hopeful that we can get that finished tonight. We won't be able to do a release tonight, unfortunately, because as things stand right now, Sergey, the original owner of this library, is currently the only assigned owner of the package. So that's something that we're going to have to fix that, basically. My suggestion, I'm gonna shoot Sergey an email and or Slack and things later on tonight, or probably be tomorrow now. What I'm going to suggest to him is that we do something similar to what we've done with Cake Contrib organization. So in Cake Contrib, we have a dedicated Cake Contrib organization on NuGet. So I'm going to recommend to Sergey that we create a Magic Chunks organization, and then we can add myself, Pascal, and Sergey into that organization to help administer those packages. Hello, Augusto. Good to see you virtually, anyway. So I hope that everyone is doing well. I had a question for Nils when I saw him in the chat room. Am I right in saying that there is a pending or impending release of the Cake Rider extension? You seem to have been working on a few things there. Am I right in saying that that's close? Oh, that's a yes. Cool. Look forward to seeing that then. And also use cake.recipe so that we can push release automatically. So I don't think there's anything that would prevent us from using cake.recipe. It's not something I've played with yet, or I've not tried that, Pascal. Hello, Pascal, by the way. It would make sense to bring that in, I think. Do we have that as an issue? I think we do, don't we? I think I saw that, or I saw a Git version. Maybe not. Is there a recipe? No, there's not. So let's create an issue for that then. So I'm going to write it. Think about switching to use cake.recipe. I guess the only slight problem with that though is that in this one repository we have the NuGet packages, we have a Azure DevOps extension, and we have I think I'm right in saying that we have all the different pieces within one project, which means it's not impossible, but what we've currently got in terms of recipes, we have a cake.recipe, we have a cake.vscode.recipe, and then I have in mind to create a cake.azure DevOps recipe, because typically they're in separate projects. But I don't think that's the way this project is currently set up. So we'd have to dig into that a little bit deeper to see if that's going to be a problem. I'm only waiting for Pascal to go over the website PR again. So Pascal's going to get on that, hopefully. Should be possible with... So it's not impossible. No, that's not what I meant, Pascal. I mean, it's certainly possible to extend the cake.recipe build to include other parts of the build. Absolutely, can definitely do that. It's just that typically those projects have been separate. So we'd have to look to see how we can extend that or fix that so that it's... just notice this. We should fix that. And that's... Oh no. Yeah, that's... We need to fix that. So, the main goal tonight, before we go off on a tangent and start seeing squirrels and all sorts of stuff, is I want to get the final issue on this release, on this milestone, finished off. My CPU seems to be doing silly things again. So let me close off some things that I'm not currently using to see if that will help with the old CPU usage. Close off that, close off that, close off that, see if that helps any. I'm literally not running anything other than Streamlabs and my RDP session. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so I started last week, at the very end of last week, I started looking at this last remaining issue, which was... I should do this. Think about using cake.recipe with using extension points to include other parts of the build, which are typically not included in cake.recipe. So let's make that a build issue and let's submit that as well. Just while we forget about it. So, like I say, last week I did start looking at the documentation, which needs to get added to the XML documentation, but I think I got myself a little bit confused. So I'm starting again, basically. So I've created a new branch. I've rebased, fetched and rebased the master branch. Create a new branch, which is the 106 branch, and I want to start looking at what the build is actually doing, because either I was reading it wrong last week, which is entirely possible, or there's other stuff happening that doesn't quite make sense in my head. So back up to here, let's have a look and see what it does. So there's all these paths that get created, that's fine. Prepare output folders is a case of ensuring that those things exist. That's fine. So restore packages is just doing a NuGet restore. So we could look to doing .NET Pack or .NET restore on that at some point. I think we created an issue regarding moving to .NET Pack and rather than NuGet Pack. So that might come out for the wash when we do that. We update the version number, which is fine. So I'm assuming that that assembly info file is currently pulled into this somewhere. Interesting. So what's this doing? Create assembly info. Oh no, it's parsing the assembly info file. Are there any assembly info files? Assembly info. Okay, I don't think we need this part anymore. I don't think we need this part of the build anymore because it doesn't look like there are any assembly infos. So that's something to think about for another day. Update the new spec file versions. That's interesting that's being done because that shouldn't be necessary. Okay, something else to think about as we're going through this, because you could just pass the version number into the NuGet pack. So I'm confused as to why that would be necessary. Can someone, is my feed coming through okay? Or is it, I'm seeing like a slight lag in Streamlabs OBS when I'm kind of watching myself. Is that coming through like that on the stream? Or is it just an artifact of Kim saying slight delay between audio and video, no lag for me, all good. Yes, sound is lagging a little bit. So 3 out of 4 of you are saying that there's a lag. I'm not seeing. Everything suggests that it's okay, so maybe it's a Twitch issue. Yeah, not sure. I'll try and keep an eye on it. I've got a green status indicator in the bottom left-hand corner, so I'm going to assume that it's. Yeah, let's carry on. So we're updating the VSTS manifest, but we'll probably still need to do that part, but that's fine. Interesting to see that he's using interesting to see that magic chunks isn't being used to update that, but that's a different story again. Okay, the build is really where I was looking at getting involved in this. Okay, thanks for that, Kim. So the build is currently using MS build to run the build target. Fine. It's then doing IL repack, and then it is copying. This is the part that I think I wasn't sure on last week. So oh, I see. Okay, so maybe that makes a little bit more sense then. So the build happens, it does an IL repack, and then it copies files from the magic chunks build folder. So it's from the solution directory, or the working directory solution dir. So let's just make sure that that's where I think it is. So that is resolve directory, working sources source. So that is working sources source, right? And then in there, in the bin folder, here are the 3 folders. So there's 1.3, 1.6, and 2.0, fine. And then from there, those are then being copied into a workingdir.net. So workingdir.net is workingdir.net is working.net. So it's taking them from the sources folder and into the .net folder. This is the part I'm unclear on, because we've now essentially lost the individual folder structure. So we've gone from 1.3, 1.6, 2.0, and it's copied them all to so why is that done like that? What's in the actual what's in, and where are these coming from? And are these exactly the same? kdiff compare. Number of files are different. So the magic chunks cake DLL is different between the two, but the rest of them are the same. but those are exactly the same. So my question to the chat room then is, if we've just done the work of cross-compiling to 1.3, 1.6 and 2.0, why are we then commingling the output of the build into a single folder that is this? Surely that isn't right. Or am I thinking about this wrong? Because I'm a little bit confused by that. Let's see what else is going on. Because then what happens is we then copy the working dir.net into the 1.3 folders. Well, this is what I'm trying to figure out, Pascal. The folders, it would seem that the folders that are used for packing the NuGet folder, the NuGet package, is this one. But if I'm reading this wrong, okay, so back up to here. So we're in the build. Okay, but if I'm reading this, so we're copying, where did I read that? Here, these block of 5. We are copying all of the things from, oh no, it's different folders now. I see, okay, hold on. Okay, so maybe that's not doing what I think it's doing then. So it's copying from the magic chunks folder, the NetStandard 1.3, the lowest common denominator is it's copying it into there. Then it's copying, but this part doesn't make sense. So the pack not, so this copies to, well, it doesn't. It's copying from the working dir.net, and it's copying to the working dir.NuGet. Pack NuGet uses working dir.NuGet. Pack NuGet uses working dir.net. Yes. But it's copying those files. Copy those files to magic chunks. But no, so this is the part that doesn't make any sense, because previously as part of the build, we've just copied everything to working dir.net and we've overwrote everything. So the folder structure that was here, 1.3, 1.6, it's just been copied flat into working dir.net. So as part of the build, we copied everything into working dir.net, and then as part of the pack, we've then copied from there into working dir.NuGet, recreating the folder structure, but copying everything. So we've gone from 1.3, 1.6, 2.0 into a flat folder structure, and then we've copied everything from that flat folder structure into 1.3, 1.6, 2.0. That's the part I don't understand. So either I'm reading it wrong, or it doesn't make any sense. So what are our thoughts? So what I'm curious to do is, just my thought, could be it is done that way to ensure that all the necessary files is available when doing .NET Pack. And since some files may only be available in the previous framework, but replace the duplicate files that are available in a new framework. But this is okay, let me see if I can explain this a little bit better. So I think it's safe to delete everything in the working folder. Right? So in the working folder, we haven't broken anything. So in here, if I just do the build task, so I'm going to do build.ps1 target equals build. Right? So let's see what happens here. That's a possibility, Pascal. But let's see. So it created the working folder and it created .NET, it created NuGet, it created sources, and it created VSTS, Kraken. So then the build happened, and then there shouldn't be anything in the NuGet folder, but in our sources folder, we've got magic chunks, we've got 1.3, 1.6, 2.0, and we'll have that for cake is only against 2.0, fine. So it's taken all of these and it's commingled them and it's put them into here. So we've lost the folder structure that was in here, and then what's going to happen is that it's going to copy these files from here and it's going to put them into 1.3, 1.6, 2.0 folders in the other folder. So yeah, I think I know the setting that you're talking about, Pascal. Chrome just blew up my CPU. Copy. And let's put it into here. And I'm going to close this again. You can go away. So maybe it just misses. Maybe only the PSM1 and the targets should be copied to all individuals folders. Although I'm still not sure I like to put them in. Though I'm not sure I'd put them into lib. It looks like the other copy files command are not doing anything because the magic chunk cake only targets net 2.0. So the other files don't exist. Right. But so let me reiterate my question again. This DLL is compiled against 1.3, 1.6, and 2.0. So in the current process that's running, this DLL, the last one in, wins. So I'm going to assume that this is the Net Framework 2.01. But just copying this and putting it into a 1.3 folder, a 1.6 folder, and a 2.0 folder, that's wrong, correct? That goes against the whole point, correct? I'm not missing something there. So I'm going to say that yes is an affirmative to what I just said. So that process is not right. Okay, fine. We're on the same page. Right. So then, if it's this, the suggestion then is that the copy in the build is missing a folder structure. That's the pack you get. I'm in the wrong one. So in the build, which is here, the suggestion is that we're going to copy magic chunks, configuration. See, no, And yes, Augusto, you're right. This one doesn't do anything, or it won't do anything, because there is no 1.6 for the. So that this line, if nothing else, this line is broken. So I agree that this line is not going to do anything. But then the other thing I don't fully understand is this IL repack. So shouldn't IL repack be getting run on all of them? So shouldn't there be a shouldn't there be a 1.6 IL repack as well? So Augusto's on the same page as I am. But isn't this line, what does this IL repack actually do? What's the arguments going into it? So if we do IL repack aliases, then it is a file path file, an IEnumerable file path. So it is output file, primary assembly, and then the assembly paths. So that's why it's the same then. I see. Okay, fine. And then it's going to take all of those. So I would suggest then that we need to have one of those, or two of those. And that would be for 1.6, 1.6, 1.6, 2.0, 2.0, 2.0. Okay. So that still doesn't explain what's going on here. So if we are going to do this, then if we are going to do this, I'll come back to that PR Pascal in a bit. So having done that work, so the reason that this is coming up is that last week I tried to add the XML help documentation file, but I couldn't see where it was being copied to and from. And I think this is at the heart of it, is that in order to copy it over, it needs to go through this copy process that's currently being followed. So I think we need to make sure that the end result of this is .NET, but then it has the same sort of folder structure as this here. And then when we copy into the NuGet folder for creating the NuGet packages, then we mimic what's in here as well. So the question then becomes, or actually let's look in the, so as a result of doing the IL repack, which was done on here, no, not in there, in the sources, source, here, bin, debug, then where did that IL repack put it? Am I looking at the wrong one? No, that was the 1.3 folder. So the IL repack is magic chunks configuration 1.3 magic chunks. That doesn't look big enough. Magic chunks DLL is only I'm in the wrong folder, that's why. Release 1.3. Right, okay, so the magic chunks DLL does have all of those other ones in it. Okay, that's fine. So 1.3, 1.6, 2.0, those are now IL repacking the magic chunks DLL with that. Then we want to copy the magic chunks. So this part here doesn't make any sense to me either. So the magic chunks DLL, that only is one. So I'm going to say that we're copying that to here. Right? And then I'm going to say that we're doing this 2.0, 1.6, 2.0, and then need to decide what's happening with that one. If there's only a .NET 2.0 version of that, that's fine, but need to figure out whether that's correct or not, and then we're also going to copy those into there. Right, so let's see if what happens here, and let's make sure that we're back to the beginning. So we're going to delete this and we're going to run that build again and see what happens. Move this up a bit so it's above my head. Doing a bunch of IL repacking. Beautiful. So we're going to see that. Working directory .NET. I missed a slash. Here. Should be using the path combine or the equivalent. It's fine. This is why we test things. Let's do this again. We're going to find out. It's a good question. He did have, or there was a number of ensure directories. Yeah, so we're going to need to add that onto. There was some. Prepare output folders is the one I want. Here. So ensure directory exists. .NET. Let's just do this here just now, and then we can. Why can't I do the right thing? And it was NetStandard 1.3. Let's borrow that, put it in here. 2.0. Once more into the breach. No, Kim, you were spot on. Thank you very much. Let's see where this gets us. Okay, so now in our working folder in .NET, we've got a 1.3 that's just got the magic chunks. That's got magic chunks, so that's 11933522. And okay, perfect. Then this is the single .NET standard cake DLL at the minute, and then we've got the PSM1 and the targets files. Okay. So then, moving down through the build, I think that folder structure is now right. So in the pack, what do? We pack .NET. So this is just doing a zip file of the dir.net, combining magic chunks -version into the zip file. So that's just going to take everything that's in the dir.net folder, which is this one, and it's going to zip it up and put it into a single zip file. Well, it was copied just to the root of the folder. I didn't move it into the NetStandard 2.0 folder, no. So that's this one here. It's just currently in, because what I don't know, because we're not building that for NetStandard 1.3 and 1.6, I didn't know whether we should put it into individual folders or just leave it at the root directory. That's why I was going to go into the pack to look to see how it's currently being brought in. So the zip file, I think, is fine. The packing of the NuGet, so what's currently being done. So it's ensuring that there is a folder called 1.3 and magic chunks in the NuGet folder. Fine. It's then copying the logo into the root of the NuGet folder. Fine. So I'm going to let me read through this, and then we'll come to that decision, because I think you're right, but let's confirm what's happening with the NuGet files. So we are and this is the part that I don't like. So it's literally copying everything from the dir.net. So I think what we need to do, but it's also being excessive, because in there's only one file. But let's do this and say NetStandard 1.3. I miss a slash there as well. So let's do that. Copy, paste, 1.6, 2.0. Didn't copy my slash for some reason. So we're going to copy everything that's in the NetStandard 2 folder into NetStandard magic chunks. Fine. And then it's saying delete file from the directory that is the NuGet NetStandard. So that file won't exist there. So I'm okay with deleting that. And then it's saying for each file in the directory NuGet folder .NewSpec packet. So where are those? So in here, nothing there yet, obviously. Where are those new spec files coming from? Here. So it's resolved directory, sources, new specs. So, no. Working, sources, new specs. There's only one of them. So what does this guy currently have in it? So this thing expects that there is a targets folder in each one. So I think we can fix that a little bit, because currently that targets folder is targets. So those are the same. Those aren't different, I don't think. Or are they? Where are those copied from again? So those are copied from the MS build folder. So there's no separate compilation. They should be different. Okay. What makes you say that? There's just a single targets file. So at the minute, there's a single. Okay, fine. So those are the same at the minute. And it's just been put into the root of the directory folder, the .NET folder. So I think we can simplify that new spec file a little bit. So if I go back to the source one, which is here, so we can simplify it to just be magic chunks targets. The PSM1 file, again, seems to be the same. So we can simplify that line a little bit. We can simplify this one in the same way. We can simplify this one in the same way. And then this one. Okay, so this is where, so currently the magic chunks.cake is only going into the NetStandard 2.0 folder. So that's the point that Kim was making. So if we make this one a little bit simpler again. So if we go back to our cake script where we were copying, so that, what's going on with my, or is everybody still there, or have I lost my internet connection? Dang it. I'm going to assume that I've lost my internet connection. Ping. Yeah, that doesn't seem to want to work. Let's go here. 1, 2. Still recording. Disconnected. That's somewhat annoying. So, see if we can force it to come back to life. Oh, are we back? Stream has disconnected, attempting to reconnect. Is everybody back again? Oh, I've lost my chat and everything. Are we back on? Can someone send a message to say that we're back? My internet connection went away there for a little bit. And Augusto's saying that we're back. Hello, Nils. Thank you very much. I don't know what's happened, but all the chat has disappeared. Don't know. Don't know why that disappeared. You haven't missed anything. Not really. So I'm going to say plus here. I basically just went off and tried to figure out why my internet was broken. If you watch the recording, you'll see me struggling to try and get my internet back. I don't know what happened there. But I'm going to do what Kim suggested, is we're just going to copy that magicchunks.cake into the NetStandard 2.0 folder. So yeah, effectively, for me it first appeared as I was trying to click on my remote desktop session, and it wasn't doing anything, and then Windows Remote or whatever it's called, it came up with a little spinning icon, and then I went over to iTerm to ping an IP address, and it didn't return anything, and then it came back after a period of time. So yeah, fun and games. But if we go back up here, and we go into the working folder again, so let's remove that guy, and then let's run this build again. Someone should show this Gary guy the combine. So I mentioned that earlier. I mentioned that we should be using combine. I haven't changed to that yet because I want to get it working first. But PRs are welcome, Pascal. So if we go back to the working folder, so now in .NET, when it's finished, we should have 2 DLLs in there. Fine. We've only got 1 DLL in there, and we've only got 1 DLL in there. So far, so good, right? So then in the new specs, this is now individual got to one of those. I think. Let's give it a try. So let's take off the target build, and then let's just run the whole thing. And I think what we should get is an error. That's because I'm in it, probably. Windows doesn't like you doing things when... Let's try that again. We're running. Dang it. What have I got open? Magic chunks. Source. Magic chunks. Oh, it was Notepad++ or something, wasn't that opened? Well, or will be these maybe? Let's try these again. We'll get there. Dang it. VSTS, sources, source, magic chunks. Access is denied. Yeah, I thought I installed Log Hunter, didn't I? I thought I had. Choco install lock. It's all one word, isn't it? Sure. We're off to the races. Thank you. So then if we go over here, and we go over here, and we should be able to now see who's locking this file. OmniSharp is locking it. Well, stop it, OmniSharp. Thank you. Right. Let's try that again. Ah, no. Let's not try that again. We've already got it installed. Oh. OmniSharp may have started playing with it because I opened it in VS Code. Okay. So we're doing the IL repack. We're doing the IL repack. We're doing the IL repack. File not found magic chunks.targets. Why not? So we go into working, we go into NuGet. Magic chunks.targets is not there. No, .NET. It is there. So why did that not copy? Oh, because, okay, fine. So I need to copy this guy over to where it was going as well. So in the pack here, we are going to do, that's why, because we augmented that. So we need something similar to this. And we'll say here, we want to say targets. That's not what we want, so it's just going to be this guy. Copy that, put it into there, copy that and put it into there, I think. So that's saying anything that is the .targets file in the .NET folder, copy that and put it into, so but surely we're missing the PSM1 file as well then. We are missing the PSM1 file. So we could just do that again. Don't the target file have to be beside the actual DLL file? They will be when they're packed. So in the new spec file, it copies it and puts it into the right place in the NetStandard 1.3 folder, I think. If this all works the way I think it's going to work, then it will be beside it, yes. But because it's the same one, see, AutoMod held a message from you again, Augusto. I don't know why. I'm going to click the allow button. Currently it doesn't, no. Should it? I honestly don't know the answer to that question, Augusto. But it has created a NuGet package, so we'll break that NuGet package apart in a second. Okay, so we've now got a NuGet package, so let's have a look at it, and then we can decide if we need to augment it. So in the NuGet folder, we've now got a Magic Chunks 2.0 nupkeg. So if we double click on this, let's see what we've got in there. Okay, so we're going to ignore all the source link and the non-deterministic stuff because reasons. But in the lib folder, we've now got a 1.3, 1.6 and 2.0 folder. In the 1.3 folder, we've got a DLL, a PSM1 and a targets file. In 1.6, we've got a DLL, a PSM1 and a targets file. And then in here, we've got the Magic Chunks cake, the DLL, the PSM1 and the targets file. And then this should be using the embedded one, so that's good, fine. Okay, so let's go back to the targets folder, go into a build folder within the NuGet package. The targets file won't be included in the CSproj until install of the package unless it's inside a build folder. In current version, it is in lib NetStandard 1.3 and 1.6 folder. I'm guessing it's being ignored then. So if I've understood correctly, what I'm hearing is in here we are going to take this single file and put it into a build file, a build folder. And then as a result, we don't need this, and we don't need this. Is that what I'm hearing from everyone? So Nils and Augusto are both saying correct. Okay, so let's run this again then. We'll finish with Lock Hunter. Let's go back and run this build again. And then if this works, we can do what we were actually meant to do, which was to include the help documentation into the NuGet package. Baby steps. Never looked to see where the VSTS thing is going. Oh, it's there. So is this going to create me a v6 file in here when it's finished? It did create a v6 file. Good to know. Images. Good stuff. So I'm going to check to see if that worked, and then I'm going to look and see what Pascal has pointed me to. So we have now got a builds folder with a magicchunks.target in it, but potentially this is maybe working as expected. So let's copy this, Control T, Control V. Magic Chunks have integrated build task for MS Build projects. To use it, download latest release manually or get it from NuGet. Steps to set up config transformation at MS Build project. Import into your MS Build file. Define the transformation collection for this property to use item group. Run transform config. I see. So I mean, this is an older project, so it's possible that the targets wouldn't have been automatically imported for you by adding the NuGet package. Yeah, so what they're saying, Pascal, is that if we add it into the build folder, that when you add this NuGet package into the project, then the targets will already be imported. Oh, maybe playing. I've got my Rubik's Cube. Is it annoying? Sorry, I'll put it down. I'll put the Rubik's Cube down. I apologize. So are we okay with this? Are we okay with this change? Or should we leave it for manual importing? I'll wait for consensus. As I understand it, targets file can be used standalone too. Okay. I'm happy to put it back. So if I go back to my VS Code and I undo that, and undo that, then we'll have a, so maybe I should look to see what's in there as well just now. Let's have a wee look. Magic chunks. So if we download this guy, so currently the targets and the PSM1 are in there. Okay, so we can mimic that as closely as possible then. So I think what we're saying, Augusto, though, is in terms of this, so this 2.1 release is really a stabilization release. It's a update to the Cake version. It's a change to all the NuGet packages to point in the right repository and all that sort of stuff. So I think what's being suggested is maybe we should create another issue, which is to decide whether we should take that targets file and add it into the build folder so that it automatically imports, or whether there's other stuff that needs to be done. So I think for now, if I close this one and close this one and then run it one more time, I don't know if you're in a position to, Pascal, can you maybe create an issue to kind of capture some of that thoughts to then see if there's work that we need to do. Thanks. So let's then do a side-by-side. So let's actually have that one open again. So here's magic chunks that we just downloaded. This one. So this is the existing one. So this is using an icon URL and things. And what we'll look at in the output folder, which is going to be working, NuGet this one. So in here we've got a logo PNG. That logo PNG is being used here. Beautiful. In the lib folder we've got 1.3 and 1.6. In the 1.3 folder we've got magic chunks PSM1 and targets. We've got, there was previously a cake DLL in 1.6. We've changed that to be under NetStandard 2.0, DLL PSM1 targets, and then an additional folder which has the cake file in it, the DLL, the PSM1, and the targets. So we'd probably later add a magicchunks.msbuild, which moves the targets into the correct folder and depends on magic chunks. That way it'll be much easier using it from msbuild based packages. Project, sorry. That sounds good to me. So if Pascal's going to create that issue, perhaps Nils, you could add some comments on that. That would be good. So now with all of that done, if I go back and grab this guy, which I took out earlier, and I go back into my csproj file, so in the source magic chunks csproj, in here we should be able to put in generate documentation file. Now what that will do, I don't know. Let's see what it puts it. So back to here, and then let's just run the build task again, and we'll see where it puts that XML file. Because right now, Lock Hunter's got a Lock Hunter. What's it doing? Because it's being used by an, is it OmniSharp again? Working. No, it'll be this guy this time, won't it? He can go away this time. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay. So in the sources, source, magic chunk, bin, release folder, we've now got a magic chunks XML, which I don't think we had before. So in that sources folder, I don't think that will currently be copied over to here, which is not. So we need to bring that XML file from the sources folder into here, Now I just want to sanity check that that wasn't there before. So let's take this out again. Save that. Run that. Now the XML file is potentially different per framework, is that correct? So I would want to copy each one and put it into the NuGet package, correct? So if I go back into our sources, into our source, into our magic chunks, into our bin, into our release, and into here, there isn't an XML file, so it did add it. So that's good. So let's put this back again. Save. It can be different. Okay, so if it can be different, let's do what I was suggesting I was going to do. So as part of the build, let's make this smaller again just to make it up some more space. So in here we are copying just that. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And we're going to say XML, XML, XML. So right now in our magic chunks .NET folder, and in here there is no XML file. So as a result of doing this one, I think we will have an XML file there. Let's check. Just doing the IL repack. Now we've got a magic chunks.xml file, got one there, and got one there. Okay, good so far. So then in our, I'm still at the stage of getting it to work, and then if there's optimizations to be made, I think we can make them. But for now, I just want to let's go all the way through the packing the NuGet package, making sure all the pieces are there, and then we can play around with globbing. So then over here, we are currently copying everything that is in the NetStandard folder. So those things will already be there. So that means that over here, we should be able to copy this guy, copy this guy, and copy this guy. And then in here, we can make this just a star as well. But again, let's just test it out. So we're taking the XML file, and doing that. So if we come up to here and do this, yes, there probably is, and there probably should be, yes. It's a good catch, Kim, thank you for that. Oh, we might want to do this as well. If someone's out there, can you add another issue and add it to the 2.1 milestone to add in the dependency groups for the new spec file? Because I think we should get rid of this warning as well. I just have to remember how to do it. Okay, so now if we go into the NuGet folder and have a look at the nutkeg, then in here now we've got a magic chunks XML, a magic chunks XML, and a magic chunks XML. Beautiful. So then if we go back to VS Code and we have a look in here again, let's copy this one, and then in the magicchunks.cake in its CS_proj file, let's add that again. So currently in the working sources, source, magic chunks, release folder, there's currently, that's the XML file for that one, but we want a magicchunks.cake XML. So having added that into the CS_proj file, then I think that's going to get updated here. And it's obviously going to complain because I'm in here, or because NuGet Package Explorer's open. Let's see what happens. Okay, so then in the working folder, in the sources, in the source, in the cake, in the bin, in the release, in here, we've now got a magicchunks.cake.xml file. Cool. So that means that over in the .NET folder, that currently won't be there. So if we go back to here and back into here, make this smaller again, then in the build step where we did the XML file, and we want to copy this guy and make this an XML. And then if that worked, then we should be able to go over to here and copy this guy and change this to be XML as well. And if we run this, then I think it should have everything that we need. Let's have a look. Building. Let's have a quick look to see if there's any new issues been added. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is the one that Pascal opened as discussed. Fine. Back over here, that worked. So back into the working, into the NuGet, into here. So lib has now got magic chunks cake DLL and the cake XML file, the magic chunks and the XML file, magic chunks and the XML, magic chunks and the XML. Okay, so there was a suggestion that globbing might work for at least some of this. So let's do this. I think this will work. Let's make this a star. Let's make this a star. Let's make this a star. We'll start there. Close this guy. And let's run it again. Oh, what did I miss there? Sorry. I can remove that one because it will be matched by. You're right. Well, I think you are right, but it's already running, so let's just finish this process off, and then we can run that one. So up to here. Is this the one that's just been built? Yes. Just make sure that it's still got everything in it that we expected. XML, XML, DLL, XML, DLL, XML. Okay, sounds good. And then this line, correct, that will be matched. Okay, so one more time. It looks like the .NET working folder has the same structure as the NuGet working folder. You could save the copy to by updating the new spec to get the files. So I don't want to. I think you are right, Augusto. I'm not entirely clear on the build structure that we've got here, mainly because I'm not too familiar with how Sergey wants to do it, so I'm hesitant to make that sort of change. And if we are going to move to use cake.recipe, then this whole working folder is going to go away anyway. So I'm hesitant to make the change and not to copy them into the NuGet folder to maintain that separation. So I think you are right, but there's maybe good reason to do it. I just don't know that yet. Okay, so another sanity check. If we go back into this one, make sure that everything's still there. So DLL, XML, DLL, XML, 2 XMLs, 2 DLLs. Okay, so that part's working. So the other globbing was in the here. So the suggestion was that potentially this becomes XML, maybes. So let's try it out on the 1.3 one to start with. See if that works. Have I even put that in the right place? Where's this one? This is on the build. Okay, that's fine. Nah, I forgot to close NuGet Package Explorer. Run the build again. Let's find out. Into the reach. It's running the IL repack, so it'll be the next one. It didn't complain, so let's see. It's just been updated, so let's open this one. So in the lib folder, we've got a DLL and an XML file. So that seemed to work. Good to know. So we should be able to optimize some of the other ones slightly more. So we can remove this one, and we can remove this one to replace it with this, and then this one can get replaced with this, Okay, it's tidier already. So that was on the build. There was maybe some optimizations in here that we could do also. Targets, PSM1. So we should be able to use the same trick here. Targets, PSM1. Let's do that. And then those are okay. I'm inclined to say that those shouldn't be there, and those should be in the prepare output folders, which was here. So I'm inclined to say that those belong in there. And then that's it, copying the source in the NuGet folders. Okay, fine. So if we run the build again, we've run the build a few times now, but it's all for the good. Then I think we've optimized some of the copying. And if it all still works, then I think we can send a PR. And then we can maybe do this one. I want to fix this one as well before we do the release. Then what we should then probably do is we should then push the NuGet package somewhere to then bring it in, test it, make sure it's still working. So over here, and then 923, beautiful. Open this guy up, open up the lib folder. Then we've still got a DLL and we've still got an XML and the PSM1. Still got all those things in it. And then that looks good to me. Okay. So what sort of changes do we have here? Then we have added the generation of the documentation. We have modified the include folder structure slightly. Stars. Yep. One thing that could also be done, this is Kim, is to, instead of having multiple copy files with hard-coded frameworks, instead the framework could be stored somewhere and instead iterate over the supported frameworks instead. I see what you're saying. So it could be done there as well. So what you're referring to there, Kim, is more in here. That's that I'll repack. That's definitely an optimization that we could do, but again, if we are going to move to cake.recipe, then this folder structure is probably not going to be there. So I think I'm more inclined to get it working and then worry about those as we bring in cake, if we do bring in cake.recipe. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back here and make sure that everything that we've added and changed makes sense. So we just move those. We added in the additional IL repacks. We added in the necessary copies. We remove those. We remove those to replace them with these ones. Okay, I think I'm good with that. What was the issue number? The issue number was this one, 106. So we can say GH106, add documentation files to NuGet package. During this process, we noted that the generated document, oh did I? Dang it. Thank you. Documentation. During the project, we noted that the generated NuGet package didn't have the correct IL repacked assembly in the correct lib folder. We went through all the different copy files as well as the files section in the new spec file to make sure that everything was placed into the correct locations. Let's go ahead and commit that, and then let's do a wee push here, git push origin. Then I'm lazy and I copy and paste that, and then we should be able to go here and we should be able to compare and pull request, and then I'm going to request a PR review from Pascal, and I'm going to say fixes 106, and then I'm going to create a pull request. So I am using it. I'm using it for the reciprocal process. So if I'm reviewing a PR, then I absolutely use GHPR list, GHPR check out the number. I'm absolutely on board with doing that. For some reason, GHPR create, it just never jumps to my mind yet. I don't know why. It's not that it's hard to remember, it's just that workflow, I don't know. It just doesn't, I haven't got it in my head yet. I think that's what it comes down to. So I absolutely am aware of it, and I absolutely do want. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. That workflow doesn't feel right to me. Pulling the PRs down absolutely makes sense. Pushing the PRs up, I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. I maybe just need to try it again. I know it does the whole thing where you can open up an editor, type in the stuff. Yeah. Don't know. Maybe another day. But I have started using since last week this one. So the git checkout dash. I could never remember that one. I've started playing with that one now. So this one I haven't started yet, but it is there. So I noticed that we have had an update. We have had some PRs come in while we've been on stream, and it's from a work colleague of Pascal that has been making some changes. So one of them, I think, definitely won't be getting pulled in. So this would be getting moved to 1.3, or this would be moved. So this is for a, yeah, that's on the next one. So Pascal's already played with that one. That one I don't think we need to look at. What now? Pull request. Oh, it is running. It just built it. History. Add documentation. Ooh. Approval changes. Oh. So the PR ran, but it's not. Oh, it's maybe within the settings of here. That is a little strange. It's perhaps in the PR checks. Did it work on? Did it run on your colleague's one? No. Okay, so that's. We do plan to move. It does mean, so it would be nice to have access to the settings repository, the settings of this repository. So that's something we need to talk to Sergey about, I think, to open that up so that we can, as collaborators, can play with the repository settings in case there is things that we need to change. As part of the thing that we discussed last week, which was the ensuring that the branches are up to date before you can do the merge. As a setting within the repository that would be good to would be good to have access to. So if you're good, then are we going to pull this in, or what are we? Are you going to merge that, or how are we moving forward? That's a no. Well, fine then. I'll do it. So, all right, Augusto raised this one. Well remembered. So there is a thing that you can do to add this in, and I just have to remember how to do it. Which one? I was talking about my one. Are you going to merge my one? I saw you approved it. So do you want to merge it too? Or do you want me to do it? Yes, to which sorry, I asked two questions there, quite in quick fire succession. Are you going to merge that PR, Pascal? I meant 122, which has a failing build. You'll merge. Okay, fine. Okay, so I looked over. I wasn't sure in which succession, which order it came in. 122 would be this one. So .NET could not execute because the specified command. That's trying to run. So within the magic chunks AppVer configuration, it's running XUnit directly. So it's possible that there's more work to be done there in the appver.yaml file to get that to work. Come back to that one, but for now I'm going to figure out how to do this. Resolve NU5215 NU5128. The solution is to add dependency groups. This was it. So I think it's as simple as picking this, copy, going to here, and going into our new spec file, and then in there, currently there are no dependencies, so we'll add in 2 new ones. Let's put this back over here, and then what we want are the outputs of the message. So it's saying NetStandard 1.3, so NetStandard 1.3, copy, 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 paste, 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 1.6, 2.0. I think it's as simple as that. And if we run this again, we should hopefully see that. Pascal's just merged my PRs. Thank you very much, or PR. Thank you very much, Pascal. NuGet. Ooh, no errors. Look at that. We must have to bump a version number currently, because currently still building 2.0. So something needs to be bumped. I know we don't have Git version yet, so we'll need to bump something somewhere. Git checkout -b feature gh. What was it? 128. 8 from master, and then we will say in here, that looks good to me, gh128, add dependencies to new spec file, so that we don't get warning NU5128 anymore. Commit. Git checkout dash git fetch upstream. So let's do that. Let's do it from the command line this time, shall we? Git push origin. Let's walk through it. Git checkout dash git rebase on master, git push origin. Let's grab this guy, okay, so in terms of that workflow, Kim, I push the branch first and then create the PR, or does GHPR create also push the branch and do everything for me before I do my normal routine? Okay, I did it again. And I asked 2 questions. Sorry. Should I do the push? All right. Okay. So let's do it. Let's start from here. So GHPR create. See what it does. Where should we push the feature 128 branch? We should push it to my fork. Beautiful. Create and pull request for GEP13 feature into master on Magic. So far so good. Title GH128 add dependencies to new spec file. That sounds great as well. Body E to launch notepad, enter to skip. Well, we better put some notes in here because Pascal will get upset if we don't. So we'll do fixes 128. Save that, close it. What's next? Use arrows to move, type to filter. Submit, continue in browser, add metadata. Let's have a look at the add metadata. Ooh, reviewers, that's what we wanted. So reviewers, oh, hold on. Oh, can I go back? What if I cancel? It didn't do what I wanted to do. If I hit cancel, does it take me back to the last step, or do I have to go through that process again? Let's cancel it then. GHPR create. Let's push it to there. Yes. E. Fixes 128. Save, close, add metadata. Use arrows to move, space to select. Sorry. So reviewers, assignees, labels. Don't want any of that. And then if I hit enter then, oh, look at that. Pascal, perfect. Submit. Let's do it. Let's do it. Branch to, oh, that's weird. That output seems a little bit, release, tag. So it's here. So if I copy that guy, oh no, I should be able to do, no, I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Git PR list GHPR view 130. No. Oh, I need a web or something, don't I? Is it -- web? Oh, I completely guessed it. Then when it is created, you do, oh, I should have done, oh, from the, okay. So I went in a long-winded way. So GHPR view -- web. Okay, fine. So it's assigned Pascal. It has updated the comments. See it. It does streamline the process a little bit in terms of the git push origin that I typically have to do. So GHPR create. I think I can get down with that. I think so. I think I can. When a PR is checked out, you do not need a PR number. Gotcha. So essentially what I'm on now is a PR branch that would have happened if I'd done GHPR checkout. So from here, GHPR view -- web will take me there as well. Okay, fine. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. And then on my, just to close this out in my own head and make sure that it's all working. So if I go over, I've done that wrong. If I go over here and go over here, seriously, all I want to do is see my branch. And it's not going to be there because I renamed the project. So over here, then there's the 128 branch. Interesting. I like it. So over here, I can say delete the branch. I don't need it anymore. That will be the same for the other PR that I've just been closed. So that was this one. I can delete the branch here. I could probably have done that from the command line as well. But if we go back to here, we can do git checkout here, git fetch upstream, git rebase upstream master, git push origin. Okay. So I'm good. So if I'm not mistaken then, if we look at the milestones, then this guy has no more open issues. So we're in a position where we can do a release. So this is where I say, can't do it. So we need to talk, myself and or Pascal need to reach out to Sergey and get the go ahead for doing the release. So yeah, no YOLO tonight, unfortunately. So currently there is a mechanism in here for pushing to GitHub and to NuGet. Now, I haven't played with this to know whether I can do it. So I think we need to reach out. So the way that when I first started with the cake project, what I did is I got the guys who in the team at the time, which is Patrick and Matthias, to basically talk to me about how they did the release process. And what we did is we captured that as a set of documented steps, and then we worked on improving and automating all that sort of stuff. So what I think I need to get out of Sergey's head is how he currently does the release. How does he ship the bits manually? How do we publish the v6 file? Need to figure out all those things so that it's all documented, and then we can look to automating some of that if we need to. But more importantly, ensuring that myself and Pascal have the right to do the release, so that in the absence of Sergey, who's very busy doing other stuff at the minute, then we can walk through that process. So I think we're going to need, if we go and have a look at the Azure DevOps Marketplace, and then if we search in here for magic chunks, then we need to figure out getting access to this one so that we can publish that. I think there is just the Azure DevOps one. I don't think there is a Visual Studio one. So if we do the same search here for magic chunks, then yeah, there's nothing there for that. Didn't think there was. And there isn't one for VS Code. So we need to get added to the, there's a few magic things in here. We need to get added to this package so that we can publish to here. We need to get added to the NuGet package so that we can publish to there. And I think that would be it, because there isn't a chocolatey package or anything like that. So we need to add it to this one, and as I mentioned in last week's one, then there isn't a standalone cake.magicchunks add-in package. As you saw, the cake DLL is contained within this package, so it makes sense because it's just a DLL. It's not a standalone tool that needs an additional add-in package. It's literally everything's contained within this one thing. So the way that he's kind of put it together makes a lot of sense. So that, as they say, is that then. I think we might wrap up a little bit early tonight. But in terms of what we've done tonight, we have worked through the remaining issues that were on the 2.1 milestone for the Magic Chunks release. Worked through a few things, got it all building and running. There are some open pull requests that have come in from a colleague of Pascal for getting things updated, but those are for future releases, so I don't think we need to worry about those just now. It looks like there is some conversation happening on this one, so I'll need to catch up with that a little bit. Build is currently failing, so okay, sounds good. So I'm just going to say heart to that. So that's all I've got. So if during the week we get in touch with Sergey and we get a release out next week on the stream here, I may look at doing some of the other items that are in the next release for Magic Chunks. But I have at the back of my head that I want to do... it's getting quite hot in here. I have in the back of my head that I want to do an update to one of my cake add-ins, and I want to switch over the build to use GitHub Actions. So I want to go through the entire process of doing a release of a cake add-in using cake.recipe, using GitHub Actions to do the entire thing. So I think we're at the point where we've ironed out all of the issues with cake.recipe. So I want to have it run on at least one add-in package to say that we've definitely tested it. However, if we do that, then in theory, I should also have one that runs on Travis CI. And we should also have one that runs on basically anything that we've added a build provider for. I think we should, like we being Kate Contrib at this point, we should have at least one add-in using each of those supported CI systems as the preferred deployment CI system. So I want to start with GitHub Actions because it's the one that we've kind of been targeting really. So I'm going to pick one of the add-ins that needs to be updated to the latest version of Cake.recipe, and in that process switching over to GitHub Actions. So depending on whether Sergey gets back to us and maybe we do the release on the stream, I think I want to jump back to Cake.recipe just for a little bit to prove that concept out, because we finished off that work that Nils pointed out and that Kim was helping with. I would like to have at least one project using that workflow. So that might be next week. So if that's of interest, definitely come along and help out, because there probably will be questions. But for now, I think I'm gonna sign off early because it kind of got to a natural stopping point. So thank you, everyone. Nils, if you do make a release of the rider extension for Cake, let me know, and I can free up some time for doing a release video. If you want me to do another one, I'm happy to do that, and get that added onto the YouTube playlist so we can see what new features and things are available. Because on this VM now, I've installed Rider, so I basically put it onto this VM and get that running. So cool, perfect. That's kind of I'm trying to get into that flow of, as I ship new versions of things, I want to create a little short video just to let folks know what's included. So Kim, I've got it on my backlog to go back through and do little short videos for Git Release Manager so that we can show some of the features that are being used there. So we'll do a release as soon as the documentation is done. So Pascal said he was going to go back and review that tonight. So if he's not done it, I think we should nerd snipe him a little bit and make sure that he gets that done. Because he did promise that he was going to do it. So it's really only fair. But anyway, that's the working on it. Perfect. Look at that. Nerd snipe for the win. Okay, that's all I've got. So hope you're all staying safe. Like I say, as you might have heard me say at the top of the stream, Scotland's maybe going into more restrictions tomorrow. We'll find out from Nicola Sturgeon tomorrow. So I guess we'll wait and see what happens. Too much work still in it. Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sure that's not true. Right, anyway, have a good one, and I will talk to you all later on the internets. Bye-bye.